Hello, guys, and welcome back to the FPL Team Selection video for Game Week 12. If you guys haven't noticed, obviously it is a later stream than usual. As you guys know, we normally stream at 7 p.m. on a Thursday. However, because of the Europa League and the football, we decided to do the stream at 8 p.m. instead. So hopefully that doesn't cause too much of an issue. But yeah, how you doing, Jordan? How's your week going? And yeah, you're looking forward to FPL and the football returning again this weekend.
Yeah, there's a few headaches as we were obviously discussing our teams. But yeah, there's been a lot of midweek football from Champions League and obviously Europa League during that. But yeah, we're here to talk about Game Week 12 in our teams going forward and seeing how we're setting up, and obviously just doing a review on Game Week 11.
Yeah, we're going to break it down, talk about Game Week 12, but we will quickly recap on that dreadful Game Week 11 we had. As you guys know, Game Week 11 was pretty shocking for all of us. But yeah, let's start off with my team. This is how how my team performed in Game Week 11. I had Areola in goal. He only got me 1 point due to West Ham, losing 3-2 to Brentford. It's a bit disappointing. But yeah, no clean sheet there for Areola or West Ham. Moving along into that back three is pretty dreadful, all out really there. Gabriel gets 2-pointer after his 1-0 loss to Newcastle. Some will say that's a controversial game, but yeah, Arsenal conceded and I don't think really did enough to win the game anyway. But yeah, 1-0 loss, big win for Newcastle for the title race. But yeah, Gabriel annoyingly did concede, so he only ends up with a 2-pointer. Matty Cash is a very interesting one because he did only play 58 minutes and conceded 2 goals. So he ends up with 0 points. Also, the fact is, Matty Cash went off injured, but some good news. It looks like Matty Cash is back in training and will be fit to face Fulham in the next game at home. So hopefully all good with Matty Cash, and he should be able to play in our teams. But yeah, disappointing 0-pointer in Game Week 11. Simicast is the very annoying pick, I think, this week. The one player I was disappointing with because Liverpool played Luton, and we were looking at a Luton fixture thinking, you know what, it looks like a good fixture for Liverpool. Liverpool are playing well. We expected Liverpool to win that game. However, Luton did spring a surprise and ended up holding Liverpool to a 1-1 draw. And Simicast didn't even actually start the game. Simicast was on the bench. And Simicast is an interesting topic, actually, I want to spend a bit of time on in a bit. But yeah, he didn't start and came on, played 20 minutes, and obviously Liverpool did end up drawing 1-1. Moving along to the midfield 5, doesn't really get much better, but start with the positive, and that is Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer was brilliant again. It's another 12-pointer for him, which I was very, very happy about. I had a feeling that he could do something good against Tottenham. I actually had a feeling that Chelsea could actually nick a draw or even the 3 points, and they actually went on to win the whole game. And yeah, 4-1 in that mad topsy-turvy game. If you guys haven't watched it, I'm sure you've seen clips and stuff. It's been a mad game. But yeah, Palmer comes away with the goal, assist, and the 2 bonus points after dispatching his penalty. Looks like he is on penalties, which again was one of the main reasons why I bought him in at around 5 million. But yeah, he's like the only shining light really of my team.
Yeah, I think out of all your starting 11, to only have one return, you've probably got it from the best load-owned player, Cole Palmer. He's a massive differential. So that was a massive rank increase for that double.
Yeah, I mean, 5% owned still, so still fairly low. But yeah, it was very nice to get that haul from Palmer. And he does have Man City next, so it doesn't get any easier than that. But yeah, we'll come on to Game Week 12 in a sec. The rest of the midfield, there's not really much to discuss. Diaby blanked against Forest. Saka blanked against Newcastle. Son blanked against Chelsea on Monday night. Salah also blanked against Luton, which was disappointing. And yeah, other than that, Palmer's the only one that's kind of returned in my team, as you guys can see. Up front, it just gets a bit worse. Watkins blanked as well again. That's now 2 blanks in a row for Watkins after his 2-0 loss, surprisingly, to Aston Villa, which we didn't expect. But, Aston Villa do have a decent fixture this game week against Fulham. But, yeah, unfortunate there for the 2-pointer with Watkins. And then Haaland, again, top it off. Another disaster really for my team, which Haaland goes off injured after 45 minutes. He did play in the Champions League, I believe, last night, so he is fit and he should be fine for that game. So it was just a minor injury. But yeah, he played 45 minutes, got subbed off, and Man City ended up winning that game 6-1. So they did score a lot of goals, but obviously Haaland wasn't involved in any of the first 3 goals in the first half. Nothing really on the bench apart from Archer, who does score a 9-pointer. Very nice for those that played Archer. I never thought about playing him, to be fair, but yeah, nice to see Archer getting some goals on the bench. So that is it, guys. That is how my Game Week 11 team looks like. It is 28 points, which is, again, very low. I think the average this week was 32. So small red arrow for me, about a 200k red arrow. So I went from about 1.5 million to now 1.7 million. So yeah, not a great week, all things considered. However, I'm hoping Game Week 12 looks a bit better for my team, and hopefully we can get a green arrow in Game Week 12. Let's move on to your team, Jordan. Just quickly recap through and talk us about your Game Week 11 as well, and obviously how it went for you.
Yeah, obviously not so much better either. So let's get this out of the way. So Ariola, obviously he blanks against Brentford, losing 3-2. So no clean sheet for him in goal. Moving on to defence, Tsimikas, yeah, he obviously didn't start in that 1-1 draw against the Lutons. He only came off for like 20 or so minutes in that game, so no clean sheet for him either. Luca Dean in that shocking Nottingham Forest win at home, 2-0, so no clean sheet for him, and obviously a goals conceded. That means he got a point taken off, so that leaves him with 1 point. There is some fortune, Trippier getting his clean sheet against Arsenal, which was a surprise, and getting the bonus points on top of that, so at least they're returning defence. Moving on to the midfield, Maddison and Son both blanked in that very dramatic derby match against Chelsea. So yeah, both of them no returns, and obviously Maddison did go off injured as well after getting a knock. Moving on to the only return in my midfield, that's Bowen, who got his goal in that 3-2 loss to Brentford. So at least Bowen scored in that game. I'm quite happy that there is a return in the midfield. And last, we've got the midfielder, Saka, who, again, nothing really, wasn't really involved in that Newcastle game. Hardly saw him. And yeah, only 2 points for Saka. Moving up front, you got Alvarez and his teammate Haaland. We've spoken about, obviously, Haaland going off injured in half time. Alvarez, despite playing 70 minutes in that 6-1 win, no goals came from Alvarez, surprisingly. But yeah, only 2 points for him. And finally, Watkins, who obviously blanked because Aston Villa didn't score any goals in that 2-0 loss to Nottingham Forest. So only 2 points for Ollie Watkins. So yeah, it's been literally blank central for Game Week 11. And I think a game week we all want to forget. On the bench is pretty much the same story. Everyone blanked pretty much. And yeah, overall, it's this small red arrow of I was on 80k rank, but I dropped down to 83k. So only a small 3,000 ranking red arrow and a total of 30 game week points. So yeah, pretty low scoring game week, and definitely one game week that we will want to put behind us now.
Oh yeah, completely agree. We can forget about Game Week 11. Let's talk about Game Week 12. Obviously, it's a team selection video for Game Week 12, and that's the important, that's the important like topic now, and how we're lining up, because there is a few things to think about, especially with my team. I'm sure your team as well. You have a few dilemmas. I'm sure some of you in the chat as well have some flags, etc. So this is currently what my team looks like. So I'll quickly read it out for you guys. In goal, I do have Ariola, who's got Forest at home. I have a back three of Matty Cash, who's got Fulham, Gabriel, who's got Burnley, Tsimikas, who has Brentford. Midfield 5, I do have Diaby, who has Fulham at home. I have Palmer, who's got Man City at home. Saka, who's got Burnley at home. Son has Wolves. Salah has Brentford. Then up front to complete the attack, I've got Watkins, who's got Fulham, and Haaland, who's got Chelsea away. As you guys can see, there is a couple of flags in my team straight off the bat. Saka is flagged currently. And also Dan Burn, we know, is out for a while. He could be out for a couple of months. So Dan Burn definitely is one I have to, sort out and move out my team, really, because he's out for a long period of time. I do have 0.8 million in the bank, and I have one free transfer as well going into game week 12. So just very quickly, I think the team on paper as it is, I think it looks fine. I could actually roll the transfer. Now, where it comes interesting is Simicast. Now, for those that didn't watch Liverpool's game, Liverpool have just lost 3-2 to Toulouse in the Europa League. Very interesting game as well, but a bit of a mad game as well. Liverpool did score at the last second of the game, but it was actually ruled out for handball. So yeah, it was a bit of a mad game. I watched it, and Simicast actually did start the game. So Simicast started and played 45 minutes and was subbed off at half time. However, Simicast made a big error for that first goal for Toulouse. He was basically at fault. So that slightly worried me. Is Simicast going to start against Brentford on the weekend? And even if he does, I'm not sure Liverpool will keep a clean sheet against Brentford, but he is at Anfield, where Liverpool are a lot better at home. So I could just play Simicast, but it is slightly risky because if Simicast doesn't start, or he may come off, he'll probably come off the bench for a 1-pointer, which is not great. But on the bench, I've not got much, as you guys can see. Archer, who's got Arsenal, is a tough one, and Burn, who's not going to play. So I am tempted to do a defender transfer this week in case Simicast is benched, because I have a feeling Simicast could be on the bench this weekend. So the rest of the team, I'm pretty happy with. Sorry, Diaby's got Fulham again. I think I've got to keep him for that fixture. Palmer again, it's a tough game, but I don't really have anyone else on the bench, so I'm just going to play Palmer. Hopefully, Chelsea can get a penalty, because we know Palmer has got a couple of those goals so far, and Palmer's actually looked very well, like very good for me. You know, when I look at Chelsea, he looks like by far the best player right now, and for a young player to do that is quite impressive. And yeah, I think he's a good player, so I'm excited to have Palmer for the run in after game week 15 anyway. But I know the tough fixtures are hard. I did say that before bringing him in against Spurs, but I was lucky that he got the return. So now I'm just happy to play him for his fixture. But just all in all, the move I'm currently thinking about is actually Dan Burn out. Now, as I've mentioned, Dan Burn, serious injury, looks like could be out for a couple of months till maybe the new year. And the player I'm considering bringing in is actually Gurhi of Palace. Now, Gurhi has Everton at home. And if I did bring Gurhi in, I would start him, I believe, ahead of Simicast. So I'll probably bring Gurhi in and then bench Simicast, because I'm not 100% certain Simicast is going to start against Brentford. His performance wasn't great tonight. He was subbed off at half time. We saw him benched against Luton, and that's slightly worrying me about Simicast going forward. So Mark Gurhi at Palace, I am looking at, and he's got Everton at home. Again, I think it's a decent fixture, and Everton have picked up a bit of form. However, I'm quite happy to play Gurhi. And even in game week 13, I believe he had a decent fixture against Luton, where Simicast has Man City. So I could just play Gurhi for that one. So that's the dilemma with my team. It looks like it's going to be a boring play. It's going to be a defender transfer, Burn for Gurhi, and then bench Simicast probably. Just very quickly, in terms of captaincy, as you guys can see on the captaincy, I've got Haaland there currently, who's captain against Chelsea. However, I have been thinking about it more and more as the week's getting closer and the deadline stream's coming closer. I am leaning towards more Salah as of now. I know Salah actually came on, I believe, at half time. Liverpool didn't play well. I know Liverpool scored 2 goals, but Liverpool, that was probably their worst performance all season. I didn't think they were good at all. A lot of rotated side at the beginning as well. You know, they had a few, Klopp made 9 changes for that game from the Luton game. So Salah did come on, played a half, didn't really have many chances. However, it was a rotated side. I'd expect Liverpool to bounce back again at Anfield against Brentford. So I am more closer to Salah, if I'm being honest, especially after Chelsea's performance against Tottenham. Chelsea's defense looked a bit better. I know Man City, they'll probably win still, but I don't see a big score for Man City potentially. So I could be tempted to stick the armband on Salah. So that's where I'm at right now. I'll say 60-40 on Salah, but if I might back out of that one and just go Haaland, but we'll see come closer to the deadline. Sorry. So that's the team. And yeah, that's what I'm lining up like.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Captain Salah, it's going to be split, I think, again, this game week 12. It's going to be split between Salah and Haaland. And yeah, it's going to go one way or the other, I think, this game week.
Son has a good fixture as well, to be fair, Wolves.
Yeah, after that massive defeat and massive drama against Chelsea, they a lot of injuries, especially suspensions. Romero is out for 3 matches and Dog is out for 1. So
Van de
defensively,
Ven,
Van der Ven could be.
he's out till New Year.
Yes, there's a lot of defensive worries for Spurs in that sense, but attacking sense it should be fine for obviously Son.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be
I mean,
interesting.
yeah, looking at the injuries, actually, I think it is out of Salah and Haaland. I wouldn't back Spurs with all those injuries right now. I want to see how they play first. So, yeah, right now I'm thinking Salah, but you never know. Haaland is Haaland, and we could go Haaland last minute. But yeah, I am tempted with Salah this week. But yeah, Jordan, let's move on to your team. Talk us through how you're lining up for Gameweek 12, and then also talk us through any plans in terms of transfers as well.
Yes, this is how my game week looks like for Game Week 12, a team. So we've got Areola, who has Nottingham Forest at home. In the defence, we've got the 3 defenders, Simicast, who has Brentford at home, Trippier, who has Bournemouth away, and Luka Dean, who has Fulham at home. In the midfield 4, we've got Maddison and Son, who both have Wolves away. Maddison is currently flagged, and obviously just to touch on that, he did get a knock on his calf and had to be taken off, obviously in that Chelsea London Derby game. So yeah, he will be potentially a priority transfer after I've gone through my rest of my team. But yeah, Spurs have Wolves away, which seems like a good fixture to bounce back in after losing to Chelsea. Next, we've got Bone, who has Nottingham Forest at home. So yeah, another nice fixture, I think, for West Ham at home. Actually, they do play tonight as well. So we have to see how obviously Bone gets on, obviously, then that game tonight. And Saka, who has Burnley at home, who's also flagged. And just to touch on, obviously, Saka's slight flag. He was taken off against Sevilla last night. But Arteta did say he hopes that he'll be back for the Burnley game on the 11th. So that's some hope, wishful thinking that Saka hopefully plays against Burnley. But yeah, he's currently yellow flagged. And up front,
Arteta's comment? Sorry, did Arteta is there a quote what Arteta said? Because I've not seen anything on that, but it looks like Saka could be fine for that fixture. With doubt, obviously.
Yeah, it's a 50-50, but Arteta did say he hopes he'll be back for the Burnley game, but that's about as much as we got from Arteta about Saka's injury as far as I'm aware of. But
yeah,
I did say Saka is overplayed too much. He does need some rest. Otherwise, he just keeps getting these slight injuries. And at some point, it'll get worse and it'll be a major injury, which we don't want. But to complete the starting 11 up front, we've got Watkins, who has Fulham at home, and Haaland and his teammate Alvarez, who have Chelsea away. And the captaincy is currently on Haaland. I was impressed, obviously, with Man City in the Champions League game where Haaland scored a penalty and also scored a goal from open play. So his goal, he's still on fire in terms of his goals in the other competitions as well as the Premier League as well. So I think I'm happy to captain Haaland for Chelsea away. And the vice is on Son. On the bench, we've got Leno, who has Aston Villa away. Same with his teammate Andreas. And we've got Taylor, who has Arsenal away. And Branthwaite is also a flag, but he should be fine because he was seen in training and he should feature in that Crystal Palace away fixture. But he's obviously my last player on the bench, so I don't think I'll be playing him. But I do have one free transfer with 0.3 million in the bank. And yeah, now we move on to what my transfer plans are. So obviously there is a couple of flags. Thankfully, they're not serious flags, but I am going to make a transfer for Game Week 12. And that is taking out Maddison. Now, it's not just because of the flag. I was originally going to take Maddison out because I don't necessarily think that Spurs, you don't necessarily need double Spurs, I think, in the midfield wise. I think Son is enough cover for now. And especially with Spurs fixtures changing after that Wolves fixture, I don't think I'll be comfortable going with also Maddison too. So the player I'm thinking of bringing in for Maddison is potentially Matoma. Now, the only annoying thing about this is Matoma has arguably the best fixture in Game Week 12, Sheffield United at home, but he did play obviously tonight against Ajax. He did play 90 minutes, and that's the worry that I have over obviously Matoma, because last time when he played in other competition, played a lot of minutes, Zerbi did bench him for the upcoming fixture at a weekend. So this is what slightly concerns me, that Matoma may be rested for that Sheffield United at home fixture, because it isn't really going to be a difficult one for Brighton, let's be honest. And Matoma may not be needed for that fixture. But yeah, he did get an assist, obviously against João Pedro's goal against Ajax. And he also got a yellow card as well. But the downside is he did play 90 minutes tonight, so that's my only worry of bringing Matoma in at this moment in time. But that is the transfer that I'm going with currently, going forward into Game Week 12, and that does leave me with a lot more money in the bank. So it leaves me 1.7 million. And yeah, with Brighton's fixtures, they also do swing really nice after obviously Sheffield United at home. They've got Nottingham Forest after that, Chelsea, then Brentford, then Burnley, then the hard one in 17 when they have Arsenal away. But long-term fixtures for Brighton looking good, and yeah, I'm hoping that he does start Mitoma for Sheffield United at home. But again, it is a 50-50 with going with this transfer.
Yeah, to be fair, I think Mitoma will start. He seems like, for me, Mitoma seems pretty nailed. I mean, you might get one game where he misses out, but I think majority of the games he's going to play because he's like the main man at Brighton, especially with Solly March being out and stuff. I do believe Mitoma's fairly nailed as it gets if you're a Brighton player. So, yeah, I think it's a good pick, obviously, ahead of as well Game Week 12 with a nice fixture.
Yeah, I was considering Wilson, but obviously he got injured. Typical, because he has
Wilson injured again last night in the Champions League against when they played Dortmund in the loss, didn't they?
Yeah, 2-0 loss, I believe.
Yeah,
so that was annoying. Obviously, what midweek fixtures do, they do change your plans in FPL.
Maybe Gordon could be interesting though, especially with Newcastle attack being pretty much all out. Gordon could be interesting at his price point. Maybe potentially playing further forward as well now with the lack of Isak and Wilson. That's one to watch.
Yeah, he was my second thought to bring in. Obviously, I thought of that Bournemouth away game, but again, it's going to be split between Mitoma or Gordon, because both have good reasons to bring in for this week.
Fair enough. I just want to say, guys, if you are in the chat, if you are watching the stream, please don't forget to smash the like button, as it always helps our channel out. So if you want to support us, all you have to do is hit that like button. If you haven't already, please make sure you are subscribed as well. We are trying to push towards that 1,000 subscriber mark before the end of the year. So all your help is appreciated. Share the video as well if you can. So yeah, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And let's take a few of your comments as well. Kevin says, is Gabriel a safe option? Good question, because obviously Gabriel was benched in one of the fixtures. However, I do think Gabriel is safe still. If I was to wildcard now, or if I was to bring in a Arsenal defender right now, I probably would go Saliba, because I think Saliba is just that nailed, more likely to play. But I don't think Gabriel is an issue. I believe he played a lot of football, Gabriel, and one of the reasons why he was benched against who was it against when Gabriel was benched? Against Sheffield in the 5-0 win. Gabriel was benched, but I think that's because he played a lot of football and Arteta wanted to give him a rest. So I think he's safe, but if I was still going for a Arsenal defender, I would go Saliba right now, just because Saliba seems like he's going to play every game. Christian, after that week, I had to ensure points, so I bring Trippier in, Watkins out, leaving Darwin and Haaland up front, no Saka. What do you make of Watkins out, Jordan, with Fulham at home coming up?
I mean, it's not the worst thing you could do, because I was actually contemplating taking Watkins out myself and bringing Wilson in. But no, I don't think it's a bad move. But I still think Watkins will obviously do well. I mean, the fixtures do get hard and turn in Game Week 15 when they have Man City at home. And before that, they have obviously Fulham, Spurs, and then Bournemouth away. So it may be jumping on it early, taking out Watkins before he has obviously Fulham and Bournemouth as the more preferred fixtures. And even Tottenham could be one where they're defensively vulnerable and he could potentially score in that. But I think I'll take a risk and transfer out Watkins a little bit earlier on, just to get ahead of other people who are looking to bring in whoever forward you are replacing Watkins with.
Roman says, just made the one move this week, bringing in Martinelli as I can't afford Saka. I want to go into the international break with 2 free transfers. Yeah, fair enough. Martinelli should be still a decent pick, and going into international break with 2 free transfers is always a good idea. I'm not 100% what the Brighton news is, but Estupinian got subbed on, then subbed back off. So Estupinian did start, I believe, didn't he? Or was he subbed on and then subbed back off? Because I thought he started, but yeah, it looks like Estupinian is injured again, guys. So Estupinian came on for his first minutes of football after a long time out, and he seems to have re-injured himself in his first game back. So very, disappointing news if you're a Brighton fan, obviously, and Estupinian for FPL, how good he's been. So he is a bit disappointing because I was looking at Estupinian potentially bringing him into my team with the fixtures that Brighton have. However, that's put a spanner in the works, obviously. So yeah, disappointing, but hopefully Estupinian can recover soon and looking, to bring him into our teams again. Facts. I was going over that today. Wan-Bissaka and Mitchell both should do it. What do you think about Odegaard starting this weekend, Jordan? Says Jenny.
Yeah, Odegaard's because obviously he didn't play in the last game for Arsenal, which
he's not flagged, is he?
He's currently flagged with a hip injury.
Yeah.
Well, so far, obviously he missed the Newcastle game because of an ongoing hip issue. He faces a race against time to be fit for Burnley, obviously on the 11th. So again, it's a 50-50 about Odegaard. I don't think I'll personally go there because it is going to be a risk of whether he's fit enough, especially with a hip injury. That's quite a sensitive area for a footballer. And yeah, I don't know if Arteta would really risk playing Odegaard because he can afford not to. You can afford to rest him for that game because it is Burnley at home. No disrespect to Burnley, obviously, but Arsenal are looking to obviously get the 3 points at home at the Emirates. And yeah, I think Odegaard might be rested for that game. It's not really a tough fixture for Arsenal that you'd want to risk Odegaard to play.
Comment here. Does Saliba have enough of an upside to justify the additional 0.4 million compared to obviously like someone like Gabriel? I think if you want someone that is nailed, I think yes, he probably does. Because Gabriel might get benched every 4 or 5 games, wherever it is around the Champions League, etc. Especially if Arsenal make it through later and deeper into the competition. So yeah, I think Saliba probably is worth it just because he's going to play 90 minutes in every Premier League game if he's fit. Where Gabriel, there is a potential issue of a benching. But if you've got 4 or 5 good defenders, I would still probably go with Gabriel and save the money. But if you want an Arsenal defender every week and you want to start the Arsenal defender, Saliba is the guy, I think. And then final question, I'll probably take this one from Christian as well. Should I get Palmer for a -8? Obviously, I've had some success with Palmer this week after his 12-pointer. However, I don't think I'd be taking a -8 to bring him in when he's going to play Man City, which is probably the best team in the league right now. They are the best team in the league. So yeah, I wouldn't do that for even if he had a fixture against Luton. I wouldn't take a -8 for him. So not against Man City for sure. But yeah, I do like Palmer, as I mentioned a lot, but not for a -8 this week.
Yeah, unless you're captaining him, Christian. That's the only way I think that would make up for the -8. But yeah, that would literally defy the odds if Cole Palmer managed to get another double haul against Man City.
Yeah,
it would be quite amazing.
Yeah, don't rule it out. But yeah, well, us Palmer owners, hopefully we get a bit more luck in Gameweek 12. But yeah, that is it for us for today. Sorry it was a late one. We usually do stream 7 p.m. However, because of the Europa League, we decided to move the stream. If you guys are watching for the first time, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Also, make sure you do smash the like button if you have enjoyed the content. A lot to come over this week. Obviously, there's international break after this game week, and then after that, there's literally going to be 2 videos a day probably, because the turnaround is like 3 days from one game week to the other game week. So I don't know how we're going to do it all, but there's going to be a lot of Sorry. My bad. There's going to be a lot of content to come. Sorry about that, guys. Just lost my voice. Wow, I don't know what happened there, but yeah, there's going to be a lot of content to come. So make sure you are subscribed for all of that. And yeah, that's all I want to really add to that. Is there anything else you want to say, Jordan, before we wrap it up and head out?
Yeah, guys, just obviously enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy the rest of the football midweek also, and then we'll see you on Saturday for the deadline stream, where we obviously will show you our final teams before game week 12 undergoes. So until then, take care, and we'll see you at the weekend.
Peace out, guys.